Hi peeps, my name is Zina and I'm aging ethically. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so that you will know when I upload new videos. I am not actually in Sicily, I wish. This is a green screen and these are images that I have found on the internet of Sicily. These are all pictures from in and around Sicily. I will include the link below so that you can download these as well. Why a story time video? I am so thrilled to see new subscribers on this channel. Thank you guys so much. But I wanted to also address the subscribers who've been with me all through 2019, and I've uploaded, I don't know, over 100 videos, trying different things, trying different techniques, seeing what works, seeing what people like watching, and I'm still learning. It's a learning curve, you guys. I wanted to talk to you guys and give you a little insight, or just like share with you like a piece of my soul. So Mother's Day is upon us, and it's a time where we celebrate and honor our mothers. We shower them with gifts, we call them, we spend time with them, we go out, we do fun things. This year's a little different for obvious reasons. A lot of people aren't going to get the opportunity to celebrate with their mothers. This is a feeling that I know, unfortunately, all too well. My mother passed away in March of 1999, very suddenly. I think about her every day. I dream about her on occasion. I still remember the sound of her voice, and it has been decades. I think that if you are like myself and you've lost a loved one, you've lost a mother, that person, that spirit lives on in your heart and in your thoughts, and they never leave you. They're always with you. And I fully believe that because I sense my mother around me. I know that sounds odd to some people maybe, but hopefully some of you will understand. I sense her presence, not that I see her or apparitions or anything like that, but sometimes I feel almost like a rush of warmth, or I feel like a sense of maternal presence. It's just hard to describe, and I wonder if any of you have experienced this too. My heart goes out to anyone who has lost someone during this global crisis that we're going through. It is devastating, and honestly, guys, it's amazing how much your heart can endure. It's amazing how much you can endure when you have to. So stay strong. My mother was born and raised in Ribera, right outside of Taormina in Sicily, which is an island right underneath the boot in the beautiful country of Italy, or Italia. My mom moved to the United States when she was around 18 to go to college to pursue success and, you know, the American dream. My mother met my father in New Jersey in college. My mother was studying to be a teacher, so was my father. And they were studying education, and they fell in love. They got married. Vietnam War happened. My father was sent to Germany. My mother was pregnant at the time, and my sister, fun fact, was born in Germany. When my father returned to the United States, my mother became pregnant with me, and I was born in the early 70s. I was raised in a very happy home, very traditional Italian home in a rural sort of farm area of New Jersey. So I hate to see when people knock New Jersey because it is the garden state after all. We had a garden, we had fruit trees, we had grapevines, we had an acre of land. It was absolutely stunning. Across the street was a huge farm. It was beautiful. I grew up in a really beautiful part of New Jersey, and it was a really fun upbringing. When my mother started laughing, the entire room started laughing. She had a way of calming your nerves, your insecurities, curing your depression just with her presence and with her personality. She loved to shop on Home Shopping Network. This is actually, oh, it was twisted. Oh, I'm so sorry. This necklace this is from the 80s. This is a very old piece of jewelry that my mother bought that I now own, and as well as some other pieces of hers, and I will treasure and cherish that jewelry for the rest of my life. She enjoyed wearing makeup. I used to love watching my mother put on makeup. My mother loved copper, shimmer, shades, gold tones, anything that complemented her olive toned skin. She had a tan complexion, unlike myself. I'm quite pale for a Southern Italian, but I'm at peace with that. But my mother had beautiful olive skin, and so to honor her today, I am wearing some shimmer shades and coppers from the Physicians Formula Gold Vault palette. You guys, I love this palette so much. It's just amazing. These shimmers and copper tones and bronzers, and this is even like a gold mascara. It's vegan and cruelty-free, of course, and it is stunning. So beautiful. My mother would have loved this palette. My mother loved to cook. She was an amazing cook, and like I said, we had a lot of like fresh fruits and vegetables and whatnot, but Italians like to cook with meat and with cheese. So I was raised on that. And I became vegetarian when I moved out of the house when I was 18. And my mother was always curious about that. She was always respectful of it too. But I did eat meat and cheese growing up when I was a young girl in New Jersey. And my mother made just the most amazing food. My mother and I would gain weight just looking at food, okay? My sister and my father had super fast metabolisms, bless them, but I would see them eat the same food that my mother and I ate, and they wouldn't gain a pound, whereas my mother and I, we struggled with it when I was growing up. My mother was so beautiful. She was beautiful when she was thinner. She was beautiful when she was more voluptuous. My mother's just a stunning woman. She always took time to make herself look as beautiful as she possibly could. And she's an inspiration to me and my makeup routines and my skincare routines. And my mother, did all of that stuff when she was very young and did it throughout her whole life. When I was a teenager, my mother started to have health problems. We thought it was asthma. We thought it could have been her heart, and she went to like the top doctors. She had all kinds of tests done. She did have a little bit of asthma. She had allergies. She had a deviated septum. They injected dye in her heart to see if there was any blockage, but she was always short of breath, and she had a hard time walking long distances, which was awful because she wanted to walk and she wanted to exercise, but she struggled. She struggled because she didn't have the strength to do it. After my teens, I was married. I got married very young when I was 21 years old. And that's a story for another day. My sister was living in New Jersey near my parents. And at that time, she was getting ready to get married herself. I was traveling all over the country with my ex-husband. We owned a tower construction company. Again, a story for another day. I have a really interesting resume, you guys, and I will share it with you at some point in the future. I worked very hard, and I was away from New Jersey. I was away from my parents for very long periods of time pursuing this career in my business. My sister called me when I was on the road in Maine and delivered the news that my mother had passed away. I'll never forget talking to my sister. I remember exactly where I was in the room sitting in the hotel, because we stayed in hotels when we traveled and worked. I remember exactly where my husband was at the time. Like I can recall every single moment of it. And this was 1999. We packed everything up and drove back to New Jersey. By the time I got back to New Jersey, my mother was already taken away by ambulance, but there was nothing they could do. She passed away at home. I had a beautiful conversation with my mother a few days before she passed away. I had watched the movie Land Before Time, Disney movie with the dinosaurs. And I think the mother, if I recall, the mother dinosaur passed away and the baby dinosaur, was devastated. And I saw that movie and I called my mom, like, oh, I have to talk to you. I just saw this movie and I can't stop crying. I said, I love you. And it was a brief conversation, but it was a good one. It was the last one I've ever had with her. Apparently, my mother had woken up in the middle of the night and went downstairs into our kitchen area, sat down at the kitchen table, had a massive heart attack, and died. My father did not hear her get up in the night. He woke up and went down into the kitchen and found my mother. I don't know anyone else who has experienced that. I don't know how I would handle that. The amount of courage and strength to go on after finding your loved one and your partner of decades, deceased. So, I have a tremendous amount of love for my father and a tremendous amount of respect for him too. We didn't find out until after the autopsy was done that my mother had myocardial fibrosis. At the time in 1999, that was something they couldn't detect until it was too late. So until an autopsy was done. So unfortunately, it was fatal for my mother. We did not know this was coming. We knew that she was, struggling with some health issues, but, a sudden death like that, it was just like shocking. And it changed all of our lives. And our family, although we love each other and we still talk to each other all the time, we're not really close anymore. Like my sister moved to Pennsylvania. My father sold the house, obviously, because, that's where my mother passed away. And then the memories in that home were so beautiful up until that day. And, how can he continue living there? And he moved to Florida, which is where he lives right now. I moved to Arizona and I'm out here. We're all kind of split up. And if my mother were still alive, we'd probably all still be together. So there are so many significant things that have changed. And I often wonder, what life would be like if she were still with us today, if she would be proud of me, I'm gonna cry, if she would be happy with the choices that I've made, what advice she would give to me. I constantly think about it. My sister thinks about it. My father thinks about it. We all think about it. What I realized at the funeral, there is a viewing first where people come and pay respects, and the family sits on like a little bench next to the casket, and everyone kind of walks by and, kisses you on the cheek, shakes your hand, and, everyone cries, and we say goodbye. And then they go to the casket and they pay their respects, and then they go on. Well, for my mother in New Jersey, I love my mom. I knew she was funny. I knew she was lovable. I knew she was highly intelligent. I knew she was, just a wonderful soul. What I didn't fully realize until that day of the viewing was that she wasn't just my mother. She was a mother to hundreds, if not thousands of other people, and the lives that she's touched in the decades that she taught high school in New Jersey. There had to be police to guide traffic outside of the funeral home because generations of my mother's students came to pay their respects. My father, my sister, and I stood next to that casket, and we did not sit down on that bench. We stood for hours while people came through, and there were students outside in the circle with vigils, and it was the most profoundly, breathtakingly, beautifully sad thing I have ever experienced in my life. My mother, again, I mentioned before, passed away in March, so this was still a school year. So, she didn't just leave me suddenly and my family suddenly. She left all these students suddenly. So they lost a mother too. I would love to return to Italy sometime very soon. I used to go to Italy with my mother because as an Italian teacher, she introduced Italian culture to my city in New Jersey. She started Italian clubs. She started folk dance groups. She started honor societies where she gave out scholarships to students. She did carnivals. She did parades. I mean, this is why so many people came to say goodbye to her. I had the privilege of going to Italy a few times with my family because my mother would do trips for her students. So every couple years or so, we would go to Italy. And so I went to Italy as a little girl up until a teenager. Because of my mother, I was able to travel. And I haven't been back to Italy since. I have a passport. I'm ready to go back, but it's a little too expensive for me right now. But soon, and I'm going to do positive thinking here, I will return very soon to Italy. And I can't wait because I do still have some family in Sicily as well. I know it's worse to watch a loved one suffer and with a serious, illness, a terminal illness, and to watch them die and to, say goodbye, your final goodbyes. And that is horrific. I cannot imagine. It is also horrific to lose someone suddenly, because you don't get that chance to say goodbye. I do know what it's like to suffer tremendous loss. And there's nothing quite like losing a mother, losing that maternal connection. It's profound and it's actually hard to put into words, but it is a significant loss and one that takes a lifetime to really unpack. You guys, I had the extreme privilege and honor of having an extraordinary mother. She was taken away from us far too soon. I was able to get to know and to love an exceptional human being. A lot of people don't have the best relationships with their mothers, and maybe they feel like they can't mend that disconnection. But I would like to encourage you to try if you can, because you only get one mother. You only have one mother. Try if you can to have a relationship and to cultivate a relationship or to fix a relationship with your mom. There's nothing like that maternal connection. If you can't, find your tribe. There are lots of people in this world who are more than willing to be your family and who can help bridge that gap, create that maternal parental bond that you need. To all you moms out there, happy Mother's Day. To all of you guys who, may have lost a loved one during this crisis, I am so sorry. I understand to a certain degree what that feels like. And I am your friend if you need one. Although, it's been decades since I lost my mom, it doesn't get easier, when you lose someone. It never gets easier. It just changes and you learn to live with it as time goes on. I miss my mother. I wish she were here. But I know that she did have some health problems and I know that she was suffering. I know that she's in a better place now. I cherish my memories and I will love her forever. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope it wasn't too somber. And I also want to remind you that my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all the same, aging_ethically. If you like my content, please do consider subscribing. Check out my other videos too. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Have a lovely Mother's Day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Mwah.